Everyone, welcome back. We're going to be watching episodes 15 and 16 of the Apothecary Diaries. We're starting off on the second season here, and we're getting used to our new surroundings over in Jinji's side of the palace. So there's a lot of new characters to get to know. They're only giving us like little bits of information that I'm sure we're going to be fleshing out as time goes on. So we don't really know too much right now, but we're looking into why this storage facility blew up. We got a few clues, and we're just going to see where this all leads, I guess. So, but all right, before we jump on in, guys, feel free to check out my YouTube memberships. They're only $1, and you get early access to episodes like these and also full reactions as well.
ジン様といえば、この前六召喚の妓女を見受けしたんだろう。なんでも知的で冷たい目つきの美女だとか。
It's interesting that everyone's talking about Maomao and that she's beautiful, even though she's not walking around all done up or anything. Oh, she's already had some.
それに今さら毒の出てくるこの話を途中で切ってもいいのですか？
どうぞ。
It's interesting that we're kind of moving on with other storylines when we've got some things lingering behind too.
それが今回の事件も前の事件も料理人はフグを調理に使っていない。
Okay, so the poison shouldn't have been in there. So it could be something else.
フグは前日の料理に使ったもので、ナマスには別の魚を使ったと無罪を主張しました。
We've obviously been leaning towards allergies with a lot of these things, but I wouldn't expect the show to keep leaning into that, so it could be something else.
別の魚を使ったという話も残りカスが見つかっていて矛盾はない。
何の話をしてたんだ？さすがに
ナマスの作り方に特におかしなところはないですね。
酢の配合は何種類か書かれていますが、材料は詳しく書かれていません。
We're kind of looking at everything on paper. We don't know any of the personal details. We haven't asked anybody involved other than just what was reported, right? So
珍味を好むということは変わった海藻を入れることもあるだろう。
obviously seaweed kill these men. Like if I was investigating this, I already have like a million questions. I'm like, are these really all the ingredients here? Did anything get slipped in there? Are these guys allergic to anything? The possibility of both these guys being allergic to the same thing is not very high, so I don't think it's an allergy.
ない武漢だな。誰かに似ている気がするが。
He's been at the brothel. I don't know for sure, I'm just throwing that out there.
勝手に入るな。出て行け。何をしてる。こんな奴らを連れてきたのはお前か。
ちゃんと奥方に確認は取っています。
Maybe the equivalent would be like having a warrant and they're having a problem with it and we're like, hey, we got reason to be here. So it might be suspicious if they would still deny them.
嘘はついてなさそうだな。
だそうだ。終わったなら早く帰ってくれ。
そうですね。
Take some with you. Test it. Mm-hmm. That's my girl.
例えば、交易で南から仕入れたものだとか。どこから仕入れたのかわかると良いのですが。
So maybe he is allergic. It's just a different seaweed.
もしかしたら南ではあまりこの海藻は食べる習慣がないのかもしれません。美食家の役人の好物だと知った交易商が。
Yeah, there's just so many questions one can ask about this.
この海藻の場合は石灰水につけることが必要だったはずです。
So maybe it wasn't, and then it became poisonous.
自信満々に言うな。ガウス。はい。
はけ
She can handle it. He's probably like, I paid for you. You can't die. I do wonder what the trigger is, though, to make it poisonous. At least, like, let her react to it, you know, just so you can confirm.
おかえりなさいませ。おかえりなさい。
God.
何事ですか。
私のせいじゃない。
I can't tell if he liked that or not.
40を過ぎた軍部の高官で変人。
I wonder if that's that guy on the side who keeps asking about Maomao.
よし、忘れよう。思い出してもろくなことにならない。
She's like, whatever.
かくいう私もその一人なのですが、 背筋にゾクゾクっとくる感覚がたまらないものでして。まあその前にちょっと頼みたいことがあるんですが。
This guy is so weird.
奴には3人の子供がいて弟子にしていたんですが、秘伝と言える技術を伝えぬまま行ってしまったのが不憫でね。
This is an interesting visual.
何が言いたいのでしょうか。
いや、何大したことではない。
He's a yapper.
とりあえず話だけでも聞かせてもらえないでしょうか。
Something is afoot. That was actually a pretty interesting episode, even though the majority of the time we were just talking about seaweed. I still would like to know if we could confirm if the water was triggering the seaweed to become poisonous. But that was actually kind of an interesting explanation Maomao had about how things can start as being poisonous and then we can alter its form so that it could be digestible. And definitely while I get that we're trying not to info dump a whole lot about each character once we see them for the first time, and that's part of the storytelling, is we're getting little bits of information here and there, and not in a bad way, but it is a little annoying to have these characters just beat around the bush all the time and just hit us with small talk, or they just don't talk at all. And they are clearly hiding something, or they have a story to tell, but they're just not telling it now because we're gonna go through these little mysteries that we're trying to solve. So it's not that it's ruining anything for me, but it is kind of like, come on, like what are you here for? You know, like what's your goal, man? But anyway, we're just gonna go ahead and jump on to the next episode.
つまり彫金細工師の秘伝が分かればいいということですね。
簡単に言ってのけるな。それに
Though this is a pretty interesting premise right here.
そのままの意味なのか、それとも別の意味があるのか。
遺言を聞いた当人たちもさっぱりらしい。
Maybe the father was like super wise and there's hidden meetings with all the things that he left behind for each specific son.
必要最低限しか話さない。こちらを嫌っているようだ。害がないのなら別にそれでいい。
He seems pretty fine so far.
馬仙様ですね。お話は聞いています。
That'd be so cool to be a metal worker. I think that's why I generally find this premise to be interesting.
角には彫金細工がはめられている。
It's interesting that she's paying attention to how the room is set up in general.
ここだけアクセントに違う金属が使われて。動かないように固定されてる。
There could be hidden meaning, just how everything's assembled. Maybe it all works together in a way that no one's seeing.
それは
It's funny, it's actually a very New Mexican thing for us to look at each other and kind of just do that to each other. I'm sure other places do it too, but it's very common here.
上の3つの引き出しは全部同じ鍵で開くらしいけど、肝心の鍵はどこにもない。これじゃ形見をもらった意味がねえよ。
So, as a metal worker, he probably specifically crafted these things, almost like a puzzle, right? I'm still interested in that plate that's underneath the dresser.
ちょうどこの時間は窓から光が差しているし、もう少し光が伸びたらタンスに当たりそうだが、タンスに日焼けの跡はなかった。
That's interesting.
誰かに似ていると思ったら、こいつはガウシュに似ているのだな。
That's all it was.
兄弟たちにそれぞれ渡された形見の品、小屋、タンス。
They have to work together somehow, because the brothers are separated. His dad wanted them to get along, so they have to work together.
冬場は茶会をする暖かい昼間だけ。ちょうど今みたいな時間です。
おいお前。
ちょっと水をもらいに行ってきます。
Maybe the sun shines through it. There's a reflection. It gets casted somewhere. Oh, so it burnt whatever was in there. So the obstruction is out of the way now.
ハンダは数種類の金属を混ぜ合わせることで、本来個々で溶ける温度より低い温度で溶けるという。
You can end up making something stronger.
何が遺言だ。行くぞ。
親父に期
These
待
two brothers are useless.
笑わせんな。お前は俺たちとは違う。
才能のあるお前は親父に特別に可愛がられてたからな。
So maybe that was it. Maybe all three of them were kind of jealous of each other. Maybe jealous isn't the right word, but
兄さんの誇れる才能だって。親父は僕たち兄弟の。
yeah. So he saw the value in everybody, but they couldn't see it quite in themselves.
何か体調が悪いようであれば訪ねてみてください。
はい。
Right, because their dad was working around stuff that was kind of making them sick. That was a fun little puzzle. I love puzzle boxes. I'm not good at them, but I love figuring them out.
長男は売り上げの管理、次男は販路の開拓。それぞれ別の方面から家業を支えることに。
Yeah, split up the work, get a little business going.
そういうことは、その世界を知る者に聞いた方が早い。
Still didn't give up the goods.
ジン様。
Yeah, that guy would use up a lot of energy to deal with.
ならば俺に化粧をしてくれないか？
はい。
What for? Okay, that was probably surprisingly the most straightforward mystery that Maomao had to take on. Whenever I watch shows, I tend to just ride the wave of certain shows. I try not to figure things out before they happen. But I generally like to just ride the wave and just live in the moment. And I try not to guess what's going on so that whenever certain moments happen, they hit me with the full brunt of whatever that moment is. But with this one, it definitely had me swinging for the fences. I was like, okay, all these different pieces, they all go together. You know, these brothers need to work together, obviously, because they're very separated, and it's obvious that their dad loved them all. But some of the pieces of the puzzle seem to very much not go together, which threw me off a little bit. Like the fishbowl is what threw me off the most. And actually, even like the little piece of iron that was propping up the dresser, I think threw me off a little bit. I was thinking if you were to remove that, if the dresser would then lean, and then maybe that would trigger something. I don't know. But maybe that was just to prop it up so that it would be in the sunlight. So it was definitely a clue. I just didn't think the clue meant what it actually did mean. But just mechanically, the way the puzzle worked, I really loved all of that, because I love puzzle boxes in that sense, and it's just fun to tinker around with it until things start to move around and actually go together. So this was a fun episode to go through. So we didn't get too far in terms of like any bigger arcs or anything. We finally got to interact with, you know, the shady guy. I forgot his name already. I do like Boston. You know, at least he has a little bit more going on with him than to just observe. He seems to at least give a little bit of feedback, a little bit of pushback, and has a bit of a personality of their own. So I'm definitely down with them so far. But it was also cool to see Maomao go into a world that was a bit outside of her own and still be able to apply her same skill set and be able to figure things out. There's still some things that she was able to kind of connect the dots with in terms of, you know, if certain workers are working around elements that can get them sick, she at least can connect those dots together. But anyway, another great couple of episodes. I hope you guys enjoyed the reaction. I enjoyed these episodes. But that's it for me, guys, and I will see you next time.